Hey, good morning guys. Today I'm going to tell you a story that's kind of painful actually. I almost got scammed out of $35,000 last month, and I wanted to share it with you so that hopefully it doesn't happen to you. Okay, so today we're going to cover 5 steps to help you avoid getting scammed by a lender or other financing professional. Alright, the last 2 months have been a blur between RIMPAC, last minute business trip, sick family at Hurricane Lane. I haven't really had a chance to breathe, so we're finally catching up and here's a new video for you. However, in the midst of all this chaos, we've been working to close on the largest property we've ever purchased. Don't worry, I'll be posting about this deal soon. Alright, so I like to learn the hard way, and I probably always will. Unfortunately, this lesson almost cost me 35 grand, but I was lucky enough to realize my mistakes before it was too late. I decided it was worth sharing this difficult and somewhat embarrassing story in the hopes that some of you will avoid repeating my mistakes. Let's ensure that this doesn't happen to you. Alright, so point number 1, have your escrow company or title company work with the lender or the potential lender. The first red flag I should have noticed is that the lender didn't want to talk to my escrow company. In the future, I'll probably make this my first screening question, and if they don't want to work with my title company, I'll walk. So when we first started talking about financing, I suggested that, hey, what's your contact info? I'll have my escrow company get in touch with you to go over the when and where and how to send all the funds. And the lender said that they generally don't work with escrow and title companies because they prefer to lend directly to the lendee or whoever's getting the money. They prefer to lend to the person. It's kind of raised a red flag to me because why would you lend that much money, in this case $625,000, without utilizing the building itself as collateral? That just didn't make sense to me. However, again, had to learn this lesson the hard way. Going forward, if a lender doesn't want to work with my escrow or title company, I will just immediately stop working with them and move on to another lender, because that's the way business works in the real world. Step number 2 is a qualified intermediary. I hadn't quite come to this decision yet and was still trying to learn the hard way, so I suggested that perhaps we use a qualified intermediary. A qualified intermediary is basically a third party that would have held my money and the lender's money. I deposit my money, the lender deposits his money, and then the qualified intermediary verifies that both funds are there and then hands them to the other partners. Obviously there's a bit of a fee there, but it ensures that you don't get burned, and neither does the lender, so it kind of makes everyone feel all warm and fuzzy inside. A lot of times qualified intermediaries are used for like the 1031 exchanges and everything. They're a place to store your cash without having it get messed with, and it's a professional organization that'll hold on to your cash while you're conducting an exchange, whether that's a tax-deferred exchange or with a private party or a lender or whatever the case. So I told this lender that I was going to send my origination fee, which was the $35,000, to a qualified intermediary, and then he could work with them. At this point, he told me that his company required the funds be wired to their account so that they could verify funds, at which point it would be sent back to me with the loan. It wasn't actually an origination fee, just to build trust. This most definitely triggered my spidey senses, but I still wanted to verify everything, so I started, rather than just walking away at that point, which I was thinking about doing, I took some time and did more research on this guy just to make sure, because the loan terms were still very tempting. So I didn't really want to throw away good money. Never send money directly to a lender or a lending organization in a situation like this. Utilize an escrow company or a qualified intermediary. Make them work with a third party. Okay, so now that I'm verifying all their information, the third thing I did was verify that their contact info on the website matched what I was getting contacted from. So I went to the lender's website for the LLC that this guy worked for, and I was going to utilize their email and their phone number to contact them, and just to verify that this gentleman worked for their company, just to make sure, everything seemed good. And when I went to send an email, I noticed that although they were very close, the emails were different, and I only noticed this because when I typed in the email address, it didn't pop up as an email that I had already sent something to, and I kind of went, I've sent one to this before, why is it not auto-populating? At which point I realized that it was off by like a letter or two. It was very close, but it was not the email that was listed as their contact info on the website. And the phone number on the website was just a couple digits off from the phone number that was listed on the original email and the guy's signature. So I probably wouldn't have noticed these. In fact, I hadn't noticed these until I started doing some research due to red flags. So I tried to contact the company utilizing the email and phone number that was listed on the website, and I mean, to date, I still haven't gotten a response. The fourth step to ensuring you don't get scammed by a lender: don't wire the money. Don't do it. Nope, nope, nope. Do not wire the money. Don't wire or transfer money to anybody that's not family or friends. All right? I had told this gentleman about my doubts, and he acted very offended about my accusations. And rather than going out of his way to comfort me and like help me and work with me, he basically made it sound like I was wrong for questioning him. Don't ever feel like you're in the wrong. It's your money. Protect it. At this point, I feel like it's important to note that had the lending terms not been so tempting and so good, I would have dropped this a long time ago. But I was really dead set on, if there's any way to verify that this guy's legit, I really would like to take his money because the lending terms were pretty solid. On that note, if it sounds too good to be true, as you already know, it probably is. Alright, so the fifth step, and this is where I finally made the decision not to work with them anymore, is call the state and verify the LLC information. So I asked this gentleman if he could forward me a copy of his business license, because at this point I was pretty skeptical. And he actually did forward me very, very quickly scanned copy of his LLC information and the cover page for his business license. Again, this guy knew what he was doing. Very convincing. Ever the skeptic, I decided to research the LLC through the state of Florida, which is where it was operating from. And they informed me that the business license had been allowed to lapse the prior year, so they were no longer in business, which explains why they did not email me back or contact me via phone when I reached out to them. It was at this point that I finally came to terms with the fact that I had been duped and decided that I was not going to work with this gentleman. Here, look, guys, there's a bonus step. Check it out. I said 5, but I'm going to do 6. So here's step number 6. Oh, it's the same. Don't wire them money. Don't do it. Throughout the entire ordeal, this gentleman was very convincing. And I'm kind of ashamed to say I almost fell for it. So don't wire money to anybody that's not family and friends. Even after I walked away and told him that I wasn't going to be able to work with him, this guy kept contacting me trying to earn my trust and convince me that he was legit. He even went so far as to slash the $35,000 in half for the wire transfer to verify funds. So I would have only lost like $17,500 instead of $35,000. Still not worth it. But for the heck of it, I decided to ask him for his wire information just because I was curious what it was going to be. Lo and behold, I needed to wire the money to his secretary who was in Texas, because somehow it's a way to earn my trust even more to have a Florida LLC transfer wire deposit money to somebody different in the state of Texas who's also not a part of the LLC. I don't know. Obviously, this confirmed my decision even more, and in the future, it might not be a bad idea to ask this question as far as if anyone ever tries to get you to wire money, I'd ask where it's being wired to, because it might be totally different than the address of the actual individual, and that should be a definite red flag. Although so should the rest of this. Don't wire money to anyone outside of friends and family. Don't do it. Look, any professional business is going to understand your need to feel safe with your money, and they're not going to try to make you feel bad for it. Alright guys, to sum everything up, this was a learning experience. So my saving grace was actually a conversation I had with a gentleman named Corey Nemoto. So Corey, if you're watching this, shout out. He's the man. He's one of the best fix and flip operations on the island of Oahu, and currently starting a lending company as well. So obviously he knows what he's talking about. A few months prior, he and I were discussing hard money lenders, and he mentioned that if a hard money lender does not want to work with his escrow company, he immediately walks away. And so that conversation was kind of in the back of my head from the get-go, and honestly, if I hadn't had that conversation, I don't know if it would have triggered my spidey senses in the same way, and I may have honestly fallen for it, unfortunately, because this guy was, he was good. Props to him. Good scam artist, I guess. But luckily, I didn't fall for it, so be wary of these things. Pretty scary to think about what would have happened had I sent this $35,000. Not only would I have lost my $35,000, but I also would have lost this deal, which is pretty substantial deal, and it would have been a huge setback. Definitely would not have been a good situation. So do your research, guys, and remember that your lender should never get frustrated about your fears and your worries, but rather they should work to comfort you and to ensure that you trust them and you guys have a mutually beneficial relationship. It's built on trust, and they need to meet you halfway, because nobody's going to care about your money and the safety of your money more than you are. And they need to worry about that, and they need to ensure that you're taken care of just as much as they are. They should be just as concerned about keeping your money safe as you are. The bottom line is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Legitimate lenders will work with your title company or escrow. Any professional company will understand your need to work with a third party to ensure that your money is taken care of. And the last key takeaway is, as you already guessed it, don't wire money to anyone outside of friends and family. Alright guys, I hope this helped you. I really hope that this helps you avoid making a mistake like I almost did. A very costly mistake in the long term, much more than the short term, but still, $35,000 is nothing to joke about losing. I learned a lot through that and the rest of this deal, which I look forward to telling you guys about. So stay tuned for updates on that on both the blog and the YouTube channel. It'll be in the current deals once we close here, hopefully next week. Please, if you like this video, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, click the little buttons so that you get notifications so that you'll see when we post new content. And have a great week!